Welcome down, ladies and gentlemen. You know the drill. This is Tech Talk Friday. Welcome to the 6 p.m. digest of everything tech, whether in Malaysia or maybe sometimes we reach across the pond and see what's happening around the world. And thank you so much once again for everybody for joining us here on the show. If you saw our promos, you know I took a dig at Karam at the end of it. If you didn't, then let's see what fun we're going to have today here right now. And of course, we're going to have two guests as usual, speaking about two different things. And these guests again have somehow coincidentally, I found out, maybe Karam knew about this all this while, but I found out they have some connections as well. So as Karam would say, the startup gods actually kind of align things very well for us whenever we get on these shows. And Tech Talk is brought to you by Necole. Necole, the learning experience platform for you to start accelerating your career, your future, your skills, and of course, your growth. So if you want to find out how you can get hold and access to this app and also start growing yourself in any field at all, go over to Necole.app. You see the link right there on screen right now and get your subscription, whether 1 year, 3 months you choose. And also for those of y'all right here on Tech Talk, if you do so right now during the show, there is a special promo code. You see that in the crawler at below. The promo code is Roshan T Lead 30. So use that code to get 30% off your Necole. So with that done, Karam kind of came in just now backstage with this kind of peacock thing behind, but I think he's just setting up to ensure that he has got a good background for him. So, ladies and gentlemen, of course, my equal host on this show, let's introduce Karamjit from Digital News Asia. Hey, Karam, what happened to your round green screen behind you? You decided to go old.
It was I bought the wrong size green screen. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, so in the world of tech and you try to be all fancy, sometimes just having a real background helps, like what Karam has there. So Karam, let's get into it. Digital News Asia's news pick of the week. There's this one. Big Pay gets financial injection from SK Group. So what's this story about?
Well, Tan Sri Tony Fernandez has, for many years, been aiming for his AirAsia group to also become an internet company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has got a few different plays going on, and his fintech play is called Big Pay, BIG, right? Big Pay. And so I think they announced it yesterday or day before that they've actually got an investment of up to 100 million US dollars from South Korea's SK Group. Now, SK Group is a conglomerate in South Korea, one of the largest one. It plays it's got three big main arms, which is energy, chemicals, telecommunications, which is the key arm that I guess would be interested in Big Pay, and then trading and services. And this is like they've got 110,000 staff, 215 billion US dollar revenue. But this was as of 2019. So it's a very big company. I'm just explaining to you how big they are. And they've now come into Asia, right? So it's very interesting that they don't say that they've received funding, They say they finalized financing and up to 100 million. So they are really not being transparent with what is the actual deal. But of course, then they talk it up to say that, this is a validation of our fintech play. You've got South Korea, company coming in to be partners with us. And then, of course, Tony says, so there's a quote from Tony said, of course, I'm excited. I'm disappointed. Tony didn't say I'm super excited. He said, I'm excited only. Okay. And he used for this great opportunity. Again, I'm disappointed. He didn't say for this immense, undescribable opportunity. So I think Tony must have fired his previous script writer. The rhetoric and it has been toned down dramatically, right? He just said great partnership and for their belief in Big Pay's mission to bring inclusivity to financial services. So, and the SK representative from Malaysia said, we're happy to join forces with Big Pay. Interesting, huh? Join forces. They don't say we're happy with our investment into Big Pay. So they're just not being transparent. If somebody has invested in you, funded you, say so, right? So our joint forces, Big Pay, and we're looking to fintech. And of course, Big Pay, don't forget, they have applied for one of the digital banking license, and they want to be a banking disruptor.
Right.
So it is an interesting, collaboration here. To exact what extent, I don't know, and maybe some other news portal out there has been able to define the relationship exactly, but we didn't investigate further. We just ran the press release. So, but it is still quite significant. We'll see where this leads to next. So that I thought that's something that people should be. It's quite noteworthy and bring to the attention of viewers and readers.
All right. And Karam, cut the man some slack, lah. He's handling airlines, which in this era right now is, going through real rigmarole, and he's trying to find a way out of it.
Absolutely brutal, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely brutal. If you hear him on different interviews as well, you can kind of see the tiredness on the man's face as well. So let's see what happens with this play into fintech. Big pay.
But let's not bring up the video clip that went viral, right? Of their disrespect to female executives, and maybe we can ask Shan Li what she thought of that. If we want to. But maybe not, because I don't want Shan Li to drop off. Hey, that wasn't part of the questions I got. So maybe better not be too spontaneous here.
I think it will be interesting to ask. I think it's very obvious what the Thai CEO said that was wrong, but I guess the reaction from the other two, that's the curious thing. So let's see. That's something we may come across in the conversations that we're gonna have. So if you want to find out more, if you want to read more on the news that is happening on tech, all these kind of releases coming in fresh hot off the oven, go on to Digital News Asia. Drop by, check out the news that is there. All right, now time to get into the meat of the show. And like I said at the beginning of the show, that today again we have two guests who are somehow linked to each other. Some things that have transpired between both, and we'll find out that story as we move along the conversation. And of course, there were other discussions happening backstage before we came on. So let's bring up on screen our first guest, giving insurance a techno spark, Mohandeep Singh, founder of Agiliux Cloud Insurance. Hey Deep, how are you doing?
Very good. Thank you, guys.
Very good. Great to have you. And I was just saying that just before we came on air, we were just talking about how in this new age, this digital age, meetings is just back to back, and I'm just surprised that even you have meetings tomorrow. You're mentioning that's the kind of pace of things these days, huh? But
actually, no, Nigesh, sorry, it is not the pace of things these days. If you follow entrepreneurs, and I've been blessed to interact with them so often, literally from the moment you launch your startup, your weekends are part of your working week. So it's not just these days. Just want to correct you there, because that would be not respecting all entrepreneurs out there who literally from day one, pre-day one, they're already working 24/7 non-stop. Honestly.
Yeah, only thing changes that more physical meetings, data sessions, and now it's more of a virtual sessions. Yeah, yes. But yep, I'm with you.
You know what? I clash with this a lot because I understand. Because I lead a product as well, but I'm also a guy who is a proponent of try to lead a healthy life as much as possible. So this clashes against that, but well, you got to do what you got to do. You got to hustle.
Hey, I will challenge you. Okay, when the next time we meet, I'll arm wrestle you because you are trying to do balance. We'll see who is stronger. Okay. I'm
Sure
also
thing,
like
man.
entrepreneurs. I work on the weekends. Of course, the intensity is not like your work week, right? Where you got emails and WhatsApps all going on. But so weekend is almost a relief where you can think and work at your own pace. And I love that. I'll challenge you arm wrestling. So it's live on air. We cannot take it back. You have to accept, okay?
Okay.
You have to accept
it.
Okay.
When we can meet. And if we can actually do this show live in front of each other, we might even do it on air. So that'll be something.
Okay,
anyway,
man.
back to Deep. Maybe let's start with this, right? Because we spoke before. We spoke before we came on air, and like last week we spoke as well. But maybe for everyone out there, why don't you tell us what Agiliux is about in the first place? So maybe a little intro about Agiliux before we start talking about the story behind it.
Sure. See, a lot of people talk about digitalization, doing automation and all those things, right? Insurance is one of the probably the oldest industry, but this is one of the last industry also which is yet to touch digital to some extent. And a lot of insurtech startups are coming in, but why are they coming in? Because insurance industry is not yet there in terms of digitalization, right? So that is exactly what Agiliux is doing. We are building software for insurance industry. It's a cloud-based applications for them to offer their services, which is insurance claims and all those things to the consumers in a much more digital way through apps, through portals, and all kind of stuff. This is exactly what Agiliux do: cloud software for insurance providers.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Great. That's a good brief one for us to understand. And maybe leading into the first question, then I was just stalking your LinkedIn as well, just to see what you say. And you kind of laid it out. You have a vision, you have a mission, you have certain things that you've mentioned as a soft solver solutions inside your LinkedIn as well. But something that caught me is your vision. You've got quite a big one, which is every Asian business to digitalize. That is that vision that you put there for yourself. So on that note, why and what pain in the market were you trying to solve when you conceived, or when you and the team conceived Agiliux? So maybe where it started from in the first place, and why did you come up with Agiliux?
Sure. Actually speaking, Agiliux is not the first one. We started with another product. Some of people may be familiar with this second CRM, which is where we started with this. We want to digitalize every business. Actually, second CRM is a lot more generic in nature. It's a horizontal kind of a solution. Every industry can use it. So that's where the thing started. It's just that recently, which is last year, when we met the Scaleup guys, and that's how we started and see that if you try to do a lot of things for a lot of people, it's tough. The hitting that target of meeting everybody, digitalize everybody, is not that easy to do it. So what we discuss is that why not we start with a bit smaller segment. Probably we focus on one industry, and probably where we can create a biggest impact as compared to the other industries, and that's where the Agiliux came up. We were working with some industry insurance guys since last few years, and we see that there's a huge amount of need over here. One, as earlier I mentioned, the lack of digitalization in this industry in general. Of course, there are bits and pieces. Certain guys are pretty advanced as well, but still majority of these players in this insurance industry are not really that digital. So we thought that this could actually be a bigger impact as compared to trying to do everything. It's like boiling the ocean. So if we take a smaller swimming pool, probably we can do actually much better impact. With all this lockdowns also, the majority of insurance which is being sold through the agents and brokers and all, that also created a big problem for those guys. They can't meet, they can't go out. That's where these things are also can help them. Digitalization can help them. So we actually did a very detailed research on this to see that this one particular industry actually where we can create quite a big impact. And that's how we actually, again, we are not leaving the whole second CRM in place. It's just that we have shifted the focus, do it more on one industry, and then try to create much bigger impact. That's the reason how we went into Agiliux.
So if I'm getting you right, second CRM kind of gave you the tech frameworks per se, and then you kind of focused it on the industry set.
Yep. So we are not leaving second CRM behind. The technology wise, whatever we have built over the years is just that it's now more specializing towards insurance. It doesn't really change a lot with us. Just that, yes, now we are focusing more on one industry.
Right. And when you say insurance is a very, it's pretty wide by itself, because you got varieties of insurance. So are you going after every single one of them, or is there a particular area of insurance that you're focusing on with Agiliux?
I can give you the same answer what I did from the general insurance, all industries to insurance, right? So within insurance also, if you look at the outside, what everybody is doing, insurtech guys, what these guys are doing, majority of them are selling policies to the consumers or the individuals, life policy, health policy, or car insurance. Most of them are pretty much focused on the individual. So what we have picked up a segment is, which is more of a commercial insurance. That's where you can say insurance in general is a dirty industry. Not many people wants to come in. It's tough and complex and all. But within this the dirtiest portion is actually the commercial insurance, where it's a lot more complexities and a lot more things are there. Our focus with the Agiliux is more on that. Again, in general, we do all things in insurance, but focus wise, we do more of a commercial insurance where the brokers and a lot of different guys are involved in that, doing, especially for big heavy industry like oil and gas and all those, they want to do insurance, reinsurance, pretty dirty work actually. And but we see the biggest potential in that, where the biggest impact can happen. There's almost nobody who's the company or the solution within the Asia Pacific region for this part of thing, and we think we can be that. We can actually create a much bigger impact as compared to trying to do everything.
Right. And I remember a week ago when we were having a conversation, you did use that same phrasing as well, where commercial insurance is a dirty business by itself. And also you had a sort of pet peeve with the word insure tech as well. So why do you call that segment dirty? And also, why do you have a little bit of a pet peeve with the word insure tech?
Okay, I'll leave the dirty one for later. I'll tell you about the insure tech. See, certain things which we can see they will be here for long. Certain things we can see they are here for like a transient. Again, this is my personal views. I feel the whole insurtech startups, what is happening, nothing wrong with this whole thing. It is needed, it is required in the market, but they are transient. In next 10 years, probably the whole insurtech startups will die. Die in the sense that either they will grow so big that they will buy the insurance companies, or insurance companies will buy them. Either of this thing will happen. But overall, what will happen in 10 years is the whole insurance industry will get digitalized. So transformation will happen of this industry. So what we are trying to do is, we're not trying to be this insurtech startup. No, we are not trying to do that thing. What we are doing is we are helping in this whole transformation process of the insurance industry. Which in a way we may work with insurtechs also, but still we are mainly working with the traditional insurance companies or insurance brokers, insurance agencies. We are actually helping them digitalize their things, which over a period of time will be the real thing to stay, not the insurtechs. Insurtechs, as I said, probably will not be around in next 10 years time.
Right. And this is a similar argument with how the banking industry or the financial sector industry, and even insurance falls under the same thing, right? Where there's a lot of disruptions happening on the user solution end. So there are fintech companies coming up, different kind of solution, P2P, all these kind of things coming up, which have disrupted how banks run their business. But banks are now trying to create the digital solutions for themselves. So in the end, whether there's going to be a confluence, how that confluence is going to happen, that's going to be an interesting thing to see as we move along. And Deep, before we go on to the next question, I just want to kind of remind the audiences out there that as you watch the show, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're on Facebook and YouTube, the comments area is live. So please leave your questions if you want to ask any of our guests anything at all. Please go ahead. Karam's raising his hand. Why? What's happening?
Okay, no, because Deep, you said something interesting. You said you are here to help insurance companies and even fintechs, right? And
not so much about the fintech. Not so much. Insurtechs, yes.
Okay, but it sounds like you're saying that you're positioning yourself as a technical specialist to help them with the engineering part, not with helping them create solutions, right? So because they are the subject matter experts, not you. So they create solution, but if they need to like digitize this or integrate it or whatever, make sure there's a seamless UX, for the customer. That's why you say you come in, correct?
Yep. So we are the tools provider. We ourselves are not selling policies like most of the insurtech guys are. We are not doing that, but we are helping them to do this. They want to create an app.
But look, they have all they've got. These are all well funded. Many of them are listed companies. They've got their own in-house engineering teams. So for the ones who work with you, what value they saw in you, despite them having the internal resources to do this themselves?
Sure.
Are you saying it's because it's dirty work?
No,
writing code, eating popcorn or
sure.
or nasi lemak, chapati.
See, few things are there. If you go into a little bit deeper into this one, right? There is a software which is called the core insurance system. Every insurance company will have one, that software. And on an average, the life of that software is around 20 to 25 years, which is like ages kind of a thing, and eons kind of a thing. Now, what happens in last 20 years, the people who have bought maybe say 10 years back or 15 years back, they are actually already behind the hype cycle or behind the technology growth thing, right? They are not yet ready ready to replace that system, probably another 10 years to go.
Yeah. Okay.
What will they do, right? So that's where we come in. So what Agiliux does is Agiliux sits in front of that core backend system and allows you to do all the digital stuff without really replacing your system. So
Of course.
that's where it actually becomes a very good value for these guys, that I don't have to invest another 50 million, 100 million for the core. I can spend probably few much lesser, and I still can do the whole digitalization stuff, which is tough with the existing technology. That is actually pretty good value add what these guys
Yeah,
see.
they just have to spend a few million with Agiliux. Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
not even
You're
few millions
reluctant to
actually.
mention that, but a few
I'll love
million.
to take few millions, but not even few millions actually. It's much smaller. But thing is that they can start at a very small scale also. They don't have to actually. They're not doing any big major disruption, right?
Yeah,
They can
no,
do a
correct.
small scale and then keep on adding over the period of time. Probably pay me few million also. I'm
Okay,
still
yeah,
happy
of
with
course,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a real value as well, because I can understand that. I'm from the learning space, and I face the exact same problem as what you are talking about, which is there are big companies that spend a lot of money on their own management systems, and they don't want to replace it anytime soon. So how do you sit in front of that at the same time, be flexible enough if there's one which wants to replace, you can actually do that. So
Yeah.
interesting. And maybe I want to ask this one question before I move to a transitionary question that is going to actually bring in our next guest. So of course, you kind of already alluded, and you sidestepped that whole question, which I asked about the commercial insurance being dirty and
Sure.
all that, which is fine. Maybe you don't want to talk about it, but insurance is also regulated, right? It's also a policy, very heavily politicized, or not politicized, policed. Sorry,
Yep.
policed
Regulated.
industry, right? So do you feel like right now, from your standpoint, because the way you mention it, you're now creating a solution in front of any core solutions at the point. I don't know if you're going to face any issues when it comes to policies, but do you think there's anything that is standing in your way right now? And what do you think should change?
I mean, frankly, there are tons of issues in this whole. That is also one of the dirty side of it, right? Bank Negara, or for that matter, any regulations in any country will have their own ways of doing things. I'll say we are a little bit fortunate with Malaysia and Singapore. These two countries probably are the one of the most advanced within the Asia Pacific region. Like Bank Negara already has guidelines. How do you do things if you want to do it over cloud? So we are a company which we say cloud first. But actually, if you talk to any insurance guys, and they'll be like cloud last. I mean, we are just talking to one big guys in Philippines, and they are no, we want on premise. Our policies, we can't do it. So those are the things which will take some time. It
Right.
won't happen so soon. The data has to be within the country, so that means I have to have my cloud deployments in every country. I can't have in common. I mean, there are all these kind of issues, but the thing is that the transition is already has started. At least people are accepting. At least in Malaysia, in Singapore, people are okay with the cloud. We actually have actual customers who are using our solutions on cloud. It is being there. But what can go wrong actually, right? The things can go wrong if there is something, a big security lapse happened, something big hacking happens, which we don't have much in our part of the world yet. But something like that can derail the thing. But otherwise, almost most of the regulators are very positive on this. They are working on policies. So I don't see there's anything looking back kind of a thing. It is going in that direction. It will take some time. Unless there's something bad happens, but I think within next 3 to 5 years you will see a lot of stuff will move on to the cloud. There is one other option which a lot of guys are doing, is they call private clouds, right? So private cloud also gives them a way full. I think Prudential has started something on this they are actually doing, whereby they'll be moving the whole thing. It will be pretty much in their control. We kind of people may do small things here and there. They will be controlling it, but actually it is very good for the industry. When Prudential does this becomes like a big example. A lot of other people say, hey, we also want to do, but maybe we can't straight away take that big step. Then they'll look for companies like us who can help them in smaller things, for them to try the waters first, and then it transition is already there. I don't see there is anything which actually can derail this thing. It will happen. May take five years or something like that.
Right. Yep. I agree with you. Tech is moving forward. Everyone has have to move along with it. And if anything, this past 2 years have taught us that we just have to embrace it
Yeah,
one way or another,
Mm.
right?
these 2 years created a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Exactly. It kind of sped up
It, it
everything that we
it
were
it
saying.
feels like 2 years, but it's only been 16 months. So if you talk about March, right? So it's literally only 16 months. But
Right,
even
right,
today,
right.
I had two conversations with some CEOs, and they both mentioned 2 years. So it feels like there's been so much stress and anxiety and worry and concern, right? That this literally, to be accurate, 16 months has felt like 2 years. It's amazing for you to mention that. Wow.
I think, Karam, like a point there is because even I've experienced this as well. What we usually would say is a 6 month cycle of development before rollout to market. Let's say we say something like that. In this past 16 months that you mentioned, that has been compressed now into what, 2 months, 3 months development, then cycle into market kind of thing. So I think because of that compression, it now feels like as if it's 2 years or longer because you're doing a lot more things a lot more faster. And when
True,
you
true.
stop, you're like, whoa, what just happened kind of thing. Right. Okay, so Deep, I know we're running out a bit of time here, but I want to ask you this last question, right?
Sure.
Maybe this should have been one of the first questions, but I wanted to leave
Okay.
it as a transition to the next guest we had. And when we were talking backstage, you were actually talking about Tetare with this next guest, actually, right? So maybe that story, I want to kind of understand that a little bit before we introduce the next guest. When Agiliux, right? You said that second CRM was what came first. And of course, you wanted to move to Agiliux. And of course, it's not just a case of all right, I start a company and we go kind of thing. How did you start that process of perhaps getting the funding required or getting the finances required to start launching off Agiliux? And where are you at right now? Are you still kind of are you bootstrapping? Are you raising
Sure.
funds? What are you doing?
Got it. Got it. Okay. Let's first talk about my past life. Past life is my second CRM,
Right,
which is not so far away, but yeah, it's a past life,
right.
right? We launched second CRM pretty long time. I mean, Karam knows it's like decade. In
Mm,
2011 we launched second CRM, but
mm,
probably at that time it was little bit ahead of time. The
mm,
the Unify wasn't here, right? People struggling with the streamix. Cloud, almost nobody knows what is a cloud. And
mm,
and even the VC scene also was not that great in 2010, 2011 at that point. So we were a little bit ahead, so we couldn't get any funding. We struggle. I think 2013 when the Unify came in, probably after that things actually started doing well. But maybe we have already missed the boat of funding, and
Okay.
we kind of go on with the bootstrapping thing, right? In last long 10 years we have learned, of course, a lot because of every ups and downs we have seen.
mm,
So when we wanted to do this Agiliux last year, right? So one thing which we realized is that we can't be doing it the same way. We
mm,
don't want to take another 10 years to do
Mm.
this, whatever impact we are looking at, right? We want to accelerate the whole process. And one of the thing which can actually accelerate is fundraising.
mm,
So that was on day one. Day one means last year when we actually launched the Agiliux in February, March, when we decided, and in the May 2020 we launched Agiliux. That time
mm.
it was already the thing that we want to raise funds.
Mm.
And we are working with Scaleup Malaysia, which is your next guest. I know we are actually
Mhm.
working with Scaleup Malaysia. We joined these guys last year, and
Receive
that we
funding from them, and not easy. So congratulations.
yeah, but of course that funding is still a small thing to get
Yeah, yeah.
started. But
Mhm.
actually, we got another small tranche from MDV as well under there, that IT TSRF. I
Mm.
think 600-700K we get it from them also.
Fantastic.
And now we are working for raising our first institutional round,
Mm.
which is around 5 million, 6 million ringgit is what we are currently working upon. We have been
Mhm.
already actively talking with the investors. We
Mhm.
are hoping to close this by end of this year, and
Okay.
then it will be the major growth which will start from next year.
So inshallah, it will happen.
And maybe a last question before we kind of go on to the next guest. So if that's how much you want to raise right now, what do you want to do with that funds? What's the projection of growth that you're looking at for Agiliux?
Actually, it's multi times. Within next 3-4 years is 50 times where we are right now.
Wow.
The
Okay.
thing is that, I mean, it's so easy to say this, but actually we are not even sure why it's happening. We are
Mm.
getting requests from all over the world. Of course,
Mm.
major is from the Asia Pacific. I'm right now working with customers in 7 or 8 countries. Next week, we are starting a POC with somebody like a huge, one of the largest in the world kind of a company in Philippines. We are talking to them. We have another request from another large broker. I mean, a lot is happening. But with our limited resources, we don't think we can do it. And then this money will help us bringing in more bodies and putting more things in place. We are setting up our development center in India because tech stuff is not enough in Malaysia. We want that. People traveling also is very difficult. So we are setting up a center in India. Of course, the investment will go in some part of that. A lot of things will happen. Everything is already planned, actually, what we are going to do it. There will be massive thing next year.
All right, that's great to hear, and of course, at this point, I want to bid you good luck on that endeavor. But we're gonna now move on to our next guest. So, Deep, thank you so much for answering all our questions. But don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
We want to have you again at the very end.
No
Perhaps we'll have a
problem.
little
I'll be there.
conversation with the
Sure.
four of us later on. All right, thanks, Deep. See you in a bit. All right. So, speaking of which, Karam, so you were right at the ball when you mentioned it during our preview of the show. And the guests that we're bringing, I don't know whether you very cunningly aligned it or it's again the startup gods who kind of got it just right for us. So let's introduce. Deep has kind of already said who it's gonna be. You've seen it on the posters. Karam is now going to take the reins and ask the question. So, ladies and gentlemen, to understand, is this company Malaysia's best accelerator? Ladies and gentlemen, from Scaleup Malaysia, Shan Li Tay, managing partner. Hey, Shan Li.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi, Shan
Good
Li.
to have you with us. Good to have you with us.
Okay, let me get started. Shan Li, I guess
Okay.
first question, because this is now the third cohort for Scaleup Malaysia, right? So, and we did speak about this before. So when DNA did the story, so what I guess is better, right, about the program you have lined up for that, for your 2-year engagement, right, with the companies that will be lucky enough to be selected by you, right, to be the 10 companies. So what's better about the next cohort that's going to start, and if you can actually even drill down one particular new feature or module wasn't that before this one, or a module that we've enhanced because of whatever. So can you share with us? And I want to ask this because your application is still open for cohort 3. So I want
Just
more
open.
people, best open. So I want people to be, hey man, I got a chance. So after listening to you, they're maybe going to apply or tell their friends. So.
Okay, great. Maybe before I even answer the question about cohort 3, I can tell the audience a little bit about Scaleup Malaysia. So Scaleup Malaysia is an accelerator, and we focus very much on companies in the scale-up stage of their businesses. So not companies which are at the ideation stage or MVP stage, but companies which already have a business, already are revenue generating, and are maybe looking for help or strategies or help to scale and grow their businesses. So that's the kind of companies we're looking for. So companies which are in that kind of a stage, you should all apply to Scaleup Malaysia Accelerator Program. So we run 2 cohorts so far.
Just quickly, and by the way, Shan Li didn't mention, she may have forgotten. Cohort 1, from the moment Scaleup Malaysia went in to give them, at that point was 150,000, right? Not 250,000, right?
200,000.
Or 200,000
ringgit. Yeah.
The valuation of those 10 companies in that cohort after Scaleup Malaysia came in has now gone up by 4.6 times, correct, Shan Li?
4.2 times.
4.2, okay, giving you okay, 4.2. So that's the value they've added. So, okay, carry on.
Yeah, actually, if you're talking about that, I was looking at some of the companies, if you drill down to individual companies, some of them have been really successful. One company, I won't mention the actual name of the company, I just looked at his July revenue 2021 compared to July 2020, it has gone 13 times. So 13 times higher than it was, more than 10 times, 13 times higher than it was. And it wasn't
that's even
small.
That's even better than selling drugs, man. Fantastic. Wow.
Anyway,
Family
so to
friendly
answer
show,
your
family
question,
friendly show. Go ahead.
we've had 2 cohorts, cohort 1 and cohort 2, which just finished this year as well. We're now just opening for cohort 3. So we're open for applications. If there are any companies out there which are in the scale-up stage of business and would like to apply, please head to our website. It is scaleup.my. We've got the application form there as well. What's different with cohort 3 really is, we've done it 2 times now. So our program has become very fine-tuned. We've got 12 very clear modules that are focused on helping companies to scale their business. So we've got modules like the Scale-Up Playbook, for example, where we have an entire design on how you should think through your strategy just to scale your business. We look at things like how to pitch to potential investors. We even help companies with how they do their pitches, how they do their cash flow projections, etc. But more importantly, what we have with Cohort 3 is we have some new partners to announce and introduce. So our first partner is Magic. You all know Magic, who Magic is. So we're very proud to announce that Magic is our partner for Cohort 3. And on our official launch, which is happening on the 24th of this month, we will be announcing our 2 VC partners as well. And these are international VC partners. So, stay tuned for that and you'll be able to find out more. So these partners of ours will be able to help provide a lot of market access, global expansion, regional expansion to our Cohort 3 companies.
And funding also, right? Because I think you mentioned that these partners can decide to top up the 250,000 that you collectively invest, right, in this company. So that's an easy path, right, to building trust and familiarity with them. And they say, hey, I want to double down or triple down or quadruple down on this X company, right, moving forward.
Yes.
Invaluable.
So all the companies that come through our program, we select 20 companies from all the applications that come in. We put them through a 3-month coaching program, and after that we select 10 companies for investment. So these companies will receive 250,000 ringgit for investment, and we also will organize a demo day for all the companies that are in our program. So we help them, put them in front of VCs as well. Not just the VCs who are our partners, but other VCs as well can invest in these companies.
Okay. All right. So I'll go on to the next question, Shan Li, which is, there are various, accelerator programs, like yours in the market, and they all seem to be, and I feel like they've all raised their game this year, as likely as we must do. And it's exciting. And then now you are like literally the 5th or 6th, such program that we are now talking about. And because it just happens to be the timing, right? You've launched yours now. And I'm wondering, what do you feel about, whether you feel is yours better in any way versus the rest? Because one thing that struck me is that like the Sunway one, right? They're super accelerator because you've got the might of the Sunway group, a multi-billion US dollar, right, conglomerate there, which is alluring to anyone right out there, right? You easily can do your pilots and all that. And yours at this point doesn't seem to have that big, brick and mortar partner. But despite that, doesn't mean there's no value, right? And the core team of Scaleup Malaysia are incredible people. And I didn't want to do the introduction because I would have gone on and on. So that's why you did it. But so tell me why you feel that your program is different or is even better. Be right. Put a stamp there and say we are the best or we are the best. Because my question mark was, is yours the best accelerator in the country? So go ahead.
Yeah, actually, you're the one who said we're the best accelerator.
No. But I put a question mark. I want to put a question mark because it's for you now to remove the question mark with your answer.
Okay.
This is Karam clawing back.
So firstly, when we started, my partners and I started Scaleup Malaysia, we actually found this niche, right? So there were a lot of accelerators at that time also focused very much in the early stage of startups. So companies, as I mentioned earlier, who are at that market validation, ideation kind of stage of business. But there weren't really very many startups, many accelerators focusing on scale-up stage of companies. So when we started it, we were actually one of the few that looked at this space specifically. And we also take an equity stake in the companies. So not all accelerators also take there are accelerators who just put you through the coaching program and then you move on, right? So I think the first thing is we are very invested in these companies, and that's why we take an equity stake in the companies. And the 6 partners of Scaleup Malaysia, together with all our partners in this cohort 3 as well, we are going to be very focused on helping all these companies to scale and grow the business. So if you say, why are we better? I wouldn't be able to say we are better. I don't know. I haven't gone through all the other accelerator programs myself, but I think you should speak to companies in our alumni, companies which have gone through, like Deep. Deep, when we first met Deep, he wasn't even focused on what he's doing today. It was through the Accelerator
you're saying
program.
he's not focused. That's bad, man.
No, he wasn't focused on Agiliux. He was doing, as you mentioned earlier, second CRM, right? He was focused on a CRM business. But when he came through the Accelerator program, he realized that to accelerate his growth, he had to focus his attention on the insurance industry. And then he saw it, he saw that, the funding was there, the interest is there. And that's how, coming through our program, really, you can fine tune your business strategy. We can help relook at your business models, and we help see a lot of potential that founders themselves may not see. And a lot of this is shared by our alumni. I urge you guys to go and watch our YouTube channel as well, Scaleup Malaysia Accelerator on YouTube. We've got a lot of sharing from our alumni companies on what they got out of the program. So I think it is really that, the sharing and the experience of the companies that have been through our program, and they are the ones who will be able to tell you whether we're a good accelerator program or not.
No.
The other thing
is a given.
Yeah.
Good is a given. Whether we are the
The
best.
best.
So now we want to see who is the best out
best.
there. I don't know. Got question marks. And who is the best?
And I think the other difference that we bring to the table is we're very involved. And this is also partly to do with the fact that we are invested, right? So we have a stake in these companies. We want to see them succeed just as much as the founders themselves want to succeed. We want to see them succeed as well. So we all play a very active role in the companies. And again, if you speak to our alumni companies, they will tell you we get down to product roadmap decisions. We get involved with their cash flow projections. We get involved with the strategy. Strategic decisions. We get involved even in hiring sometimes if they want a view on, should I hire this kind of person or not? What's your view? So we're very, very actively involved in all the companies within our cohort.
Actually, just a quick anecdote. Shan Li was telling me that one of the companies was looking to hire a CTO, and the person had provisionally agreed to, but he also wanted to speak to the partners of Scaleup Malaysia before he signed on the dotted line with this company. So can you imagine when you hire top talent, they will interview you, not you interview them and say, okay, my salary is this much, okay, I'm joining in. So that's interesting that the Scaleup Malaysia cashier is there, that the person just wanted to talk to them, to do, maybe wanted to do a selfie with them and put his LinkedIn, hey, I'm posing with this guy. So I don't know. But that's
I think he wanted to see the backing behind the company, and he wanted to see the vision behind the company, whether the shareholders of the company saw the same vision as the founders. So I thought that was very interesting as well.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so my next question now is actually, it is becoming to me the most important question, because as a journalist, when I speak to startups, I never ever ask them about their let's say environmental or the social impact. Social impact maybe sometimes if it's a social enterprise, right? Like their impact. And in the old days, it used to be the 3 Ps, right? People, planet, profits. Then you're holistic, right? But now with the the IPP report that just came out last week, right? What is it, IPP or CIPP?
IPCC, Interplanetary.
Interplanetary Climate Consortium, and it has jarringly brought to the forefront, right, that all of us collectively have a role to play to make sure that we leave this planet in better condition for our kids, right? And you are a parent, Nigesh is a parent, I'm a parent, so, and it's been weighing on me the past week, what can I do more? And I said that, hey, I failed in asking startups this question, I want to do that. And I was saying I wanted to do that, and I shared with you, right, when I sent you the question, suddenly 500 startups said that now they're going to make that a condition of them even investing, and they're going to talk about ESG, bring ESG to the forefront of all those companies under their portfolio. I say, fantastic. Others are also concerned about that. iLabs, their super accelerator now, so they're doing that. Of course, with the CIO Matt being a Dutch guy, right? The Dutch have got environmental consciousness in their DNA, right? You are being underneath the ocean. But I want to ask you now, not about ESG, but do you feel that there is a social impact to the work that you all are doing now? Because it's very easy for all startups and investors to say that, when we reach the size of Bukalapak or Carousel or Grab, then we can do all these ESG reports and all that, right? But now we are too small. We cannot. That would be a very easy excuse to give there. So I just want to ask you about what social impact do you think you guys are doing right now? Maybe you don't have that. You plan to do it, and it's okay if you say no. We're all about profit and scaling. We'll do that later. Totally fine. So yes, so that's the question. Sorry, it took
No
such a
worries.
long round to get to the question.
Karam, again,
So-
let the guests tell the story. Don't tell the story about the guests. Go ahead, Shanli.
It was such a long question, I forgot what it was to start with.
It was
But-
it was a
Yes,
rant
I
and
know,
a
I know.
complaint weaved into a question.
Yeah, so I think we don't put ESG or impact as a specific criteria to apply or to join Scaleup Malaysia. But what I would say is we help a lot of our companies look at the impact that they can help with. So like we do have some companies within both cohort 1 as well as cohort 2 that are actually social enterprises that do create an impact just from their business models. But I think there are also a lot of companies, and I was just working with one of my companies last week. It's a logistics company, and it's actually called Load to Go. So what he does is he does big truck logistics business, right? But in doing this business, although his business model doesn't have impact embedded into it, what he does is he reduces the number of trips made by big trucks because he fills the return trips of the trucks when they go back from their delivery. Say a truck delivers from KL to Johor, the return trip is usually empty. But if he can fill that return trip with goods, then he's saving trucks from making a second trip to Johor and back, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So because he's doing that, he can actually, if he can fill all the empty trucks that are going back from wherever they've gone to deliver goods, he's actually can halve the GHG emissions. So that's a way a non-ESG, non-impact company can actually create a huge impact on, just through what he does in his day-to-day business. So these are the kind of things that we look at. And I think it's very important for startups today to look at this angle, not just because it's a big buzzword or it helps, but because it makes them more investable. Investors today are looking at companies that do have an ESG impact. So you make yourself more investable. You make yourself more easy to partner with. So, you go into a big company or another corporate and you say, hey, look, I can create this kind of an impact to the environment or to the social environment, etc. Corporates also are more willing to partner with you and talk to you. So I think it's important for all companies to look at this.
Yeah, of course. And just one thing, I think your social impact is also in the fact that, you bring in 20 companies first and they get this intensive coaching for a 3-month period from you. And although you pick 10, the other 10 would have benefited from this 3 months of mentoring and coaching and relationship building. And they may still reach out to some of you anyway later on. It's not like you're going to block their phone calls or messages, right? So
no.
That is an ecosystem contribution, I guess, right?
All the companies, even the ones who don't get the investment, are still part of our alumni. So they're still invited to events. They're still invited to sharing sessions that we have with our alumni.
I see. Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. Okay, just quickly, last question before we bring Deep back is that is there any regulatory issue that Scaleup Malaysia would like to see overcome? Because of course the budget dialogue. I think with all the political, BS and monkeying going around, I don't even know if the budget debates are ongoing and discussions are ongoing, which they should like. That's separate from the politics. Have you all been involved to try to pursue and get one agenda into the budget speech that will be read out at some point?
I'm not the right person to speak about regulatory issues or input into the budget. I think Dr. Siba, my partner, would be a better person to speak to about regulatory issues. But I think from a regulation perspective, I don't know if there is an agency or any of our agencies currently are specifically looking at adapting policy or regulations for startups.
Right? There is now, under My Digital is Malaysia Productivity Corporation. One of the deputy DGs was on the show 6 weeks ago. So there is now. Good news.
So I think it is something that, regulation is very hard to change. If you don't have someone really pushing and sitting right behind it and making sure that, there's so many new business models. Moving forward, they may no longer be restaurants. Look at what Grab has done to the taxi industry, right? Look at what cloud kitchens are doing to the restaurant and F&B industry. So how are regulations going to change and adapt to all these kind of new business models moving forward? I think that these need to be brought to the forefront and someone needs to be able to change these things as businesses and are changing and moving along.
Okay, cool. All right. Nigesh?
Yep. So thanks, Shan Li. Thanks for answering through the questions which Karam asked you. And also, let's bring Dee back in, man, since this is a little bit of a reunion since February 2020.
20,
right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about the scale frames of 2 years of not seeing each other and how the world is now all virtual. So probably just to wrap things up, we may have questions for you guys. But actually, there's an interesting question here from a viewer who is usually with us in Tech Talk, Aziz. So, Shashi, if you could bring up that question. So, it's a thought here from him, and perhaps we can hear from both of y'all, right? And Aziz's thought here is, I would imagine that the valuation of specific companies to be a challenge when the ticket size of 200,000 ringgit Malaysia has been predetermined. Surely the companies in each cohort would be able to agree. Wouldn't be able to agree to a standardized valuation. So perhaps let's start with Shan Li. What do you think, or what do you make of what Aziz is saying here?
Great question, Aziz. Thanks a lot, bro.
Okay. Hi, Aziz. Actually, this isn't really a valuation of a company. So what we tell all the companies that want to join us, this is an accelerator round. So if you want to join this accelerator program, if you think that we can bring value to your business, it's not about the value is just 200 or 250,000 ringgit. The value is the 6 partners from Scaleup Malaysia. The value is the kind of help that you will get to grow your business and scale your business. So to join the program, we are committed to spending 24 months with the companies that come into our program and are selected to be part of Scaleup Malaysia. We are committed to spending 24 months coaching and helping these companies. And these are quite regular interactions you have with the companies and with the partners of Scaleup Malaysia. So it's not really a valuation. It's not a price round. If you ask me, it's an accelerator round. And you look at accelerators all around the world, it's quite typical that you get a small amount of money in exchange for equity. So we typically take a minority stake in the business so that we are invested and so that we are also there to make sure that the companies succeed.
Right. And perhaps
I've got a question for Deep before we end. So go ahead first, Nigesh.
I know. Okay. So my question to Deep was going to be about, like, you are on the experience end of it, working with Scaleup, and perhaps that conversation that Shan Li mentioned that you guys had Tay Tarik, and it kind of revealed to you how to focus your tech solution from second CRM to now Agiliux itself. So what is your feeling? What is your experience like with Scaleup, and where are you harnessing the most amount of benefits from the relationship that you have with them right now?
Sure. Few things over here, right? When I first joined, or at least applied for this thing, I never had any experience with the accelerator, and this was a cohort 1 and all those things. So majority of it was based on the partners, Dr. Shiva, and this is the only thing which we say, oh, this is what we are getting, and then we get into it, right? But then over the period of time when things started moving, right, with the workshop, with the sessions and the discussions, so what we realized is, which probably I don't have much experience with other accelerator programs, but what we realize is that we see them as part of the company, whereby we are doing very active discussions on things. I mean, we came in with second CRM. I never applied with the Agiliux when I applied for this, right? We applied as a second CRM, but they took that effort to discuss, hey, Deep, if you keep on doing second CRM, probably you will not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. But if we do something like this, probably things will work. It's not just one session or one, say he said, and yes, we'll do it. We actually had multiple discussions and evaluation and research, market research and everything. But what I'm trying to say over here, or try to highlight over here, is that they took that kind of a pain whereby actually working with us to make sure whatever is good for the company, we do it, rather than a set of 10 classes, you attend those classes, half a day sessions, and that's what it. You learn, you don't learn, it's up to you, bad luck kind of thing. But here we work together to do it as if we are all together in this thing. That which I thought is one of the biggest thing, which I think we got it from this whole accelerator program. Right. I'll just add a little bit over here, the valuation thing. Definitely we had that issue. I mean, I was the first one to say, hey, how come, after 10 years, this kind of valuation? But you see it in the other way, right? You are getting this team of experts to work with you for next 2 years. And how much you are willing to share with that team of who can actually take you multiple folds. After so many years also, I was still at few million kind of revenue. But if these guys in next 5 years can take me to 50 million kind of a revenue, do you think that small price which I'm paying to get these guys on board, is it something? If you start thinking in that way, then you don't get into this whole valuation thing. Valuation thing is very small in compared to this. Of course, if you don't have that belief that these guys can add value or whatever, then definitely you'll be always stuck with this valuation. But if you think the other way, it changes the whole way, the way you look at this whole thing.
Very insightful.
That's why I say the best people to hear from is our alumni. So I can safely say all the companies.
And
Yeah,
I
all
totally
the
don't
companies who
regret.
have been
I totally
through.
don't regret. I'm definitely, I
Okay.
feel fortunate I was part of this whole thing.
Right,
You're good,
right.
not for fortunate. Luck had nothing to do with it. Okay, Deep, I got one question for you, but
Sure.
I need you to answer this question. I need you to close your eyes,
Oof.
and I need you to answer with the first thing that comes to your subconscious will deliver the answer to you. Okay, close your eyes.
Okay. Sure.
Among the
Curious
6
what's going on here.
partners, who is your favorite?
Doc Shiva, la, there's nobody else. Doc Shiva is the god of this whole thing. I mean, no offense to Shanli, everybody's great, la. But if you have to choose one, there's nothing I can say. Doc Shiva, and that's about it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So that was the question that Karam was kind of holding in his gun, lah.
No.
Alright.
It just struck me to ask earlier. Yeah, that who is the favorite. Yeah, doesn't mean the best, but just the favorite. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I know Dr. Siva is listening right now, so
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the show. But of course, if you want to wait, Aziz just kind of said something again. Can we have Aziz's one here? This one, this is really batu api, you know. Karamjit should have asked who least favorite are the 6. Deep, I'm going to save you that. I'm not going to ask you that.
I know. I won't take it also. Please talk me separately.
All right.
No,
Yeah, speaking of-
that's a good one. But then, Kevin, if I do that, mean then next time people don't want to come on the show, lah. They say Karam is going to trip you up, right?
Yeah, but speaking of which, what Deep mentioned there, so both Mohandeep and also Shanli, they are on LinkedIn. So if you want to reach across to them and ask them any questions, please do. And also, while the show was going on, we were dropping in the comments area the links to each one of them. So for Agiliux, you can drop by their site, https://agiliux.com. And also for Scaleup Malaysia, you want to drop by scaleup.com.
Apply. Yes, tell your friends.
Yeah.
Apply.
Oh yeah, apply because you have this is round 3, right?
Yep,
Yes.
cohort 3.
Yep, round 3.
And it's
So,
global, by the way. Sorry, quick one is global. So
Mhm.
it used to be that you had to have a Malaysian incorporated company. Now with the new normal or the next normal, if you are a company that aims to actually expand to Malaysia, then you can apply. So and if you are good enough, they'll accept you in. So that's amazing now. So global, anyone around the world can apply.
Right.
just want to add that we've also opened for pitching early. So if you apply early, you get to pitch earlier as well. We're not waiting till applications close before we bring in the pitches. We've already started seeing companies that want to
Right.
pitch.
Okay.
This is the new world, isn't it? Like last time you got to go into a room, sit down in a room, all
Yes.
clammy hands and everything, and now it's like okay, early pitch, come jom. This is the new world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much to both our guests here today, Mohandeep from Agiliux and also Shan Li from Scaleup Malaysia. And before we all go, I've got a quick thing to just shout out about, and especially a lot of the themes that we're talking about is this world that we are going into, this next normal that we're going into. So actually, as part of this whole thing, Necole, which brings you the show every week, we're doing this thing called Make a Shift. This campaign has been running this entire month. It's actually running for the entire quarter, but we're doing a special week next week. And the special week, we're theming it the 3R week, which is reimagine, renew, and rebound. So we actually want to have various different conversations, shows to actually talk to you about in these changing times, what can happen, what are great examples, how can you make a shift for your organizations, how can you reimagine them, renew them, and rebound after difficult times. So we're going to start next week, Monday first, with the podcast, which I host usually, but we're doing a special one, which is a live stream Monday lunchtime with Recalibrate 2021. It's actually the story of Leaderonomics Digital, where we started from, what had to change, and how did we jump back from a very difficult year last year. Then, of course, Roshan, who has a show called Rethinking Balance Sheet with Ravi from Sage 3. This is how do you prepare for a revolution of your company in this new age. And for Tech Talk next Friday, we're going to focus a lot on shifting the tech in your business. We're going to have some guests on that. And we're going to end this whole thing on the 25th with Psych. That's actually a fun little show that Roshan and Andrea kind of runs. The joys and perils of digital technology. Okay, so do join us in these shows. All the schedules will be on our LinkedIn, Facebook. Find them, join us. It's going to be a fun week, so we hope to have you guys along with the ride. So again, thank you to our guests here, and thank you to everybody who joined us from anywhere at all.
Yep, thank you very much.
Any one of the portals. Me and Karam are very, very humbled that you're here with us every Friday in front of your computer, in front of your phone, whichever way that you're watching us. So we want to wish you a happy Friday. Oh, interesting. Fun fact actually came from our producer along the way. This is 13th, this Friday the 13th, is the only 13th Friday in this year of 2021. Don't know what you're going to do with that fact, but that's a fact. Fun fact here for
Don't watch
Friday.
Freddie Mercury tonight. Do not watch Freddie Mercury. Nightmare on Elm Street.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Have a wonderful Friday and have a wonderful weekend. And as always, please stay safe. Get vaccinated, and we'll all be good. Take care, everybody. See you.
Sure. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.